Hello. It is time for another just delightful battleship that has been introduced into this game. Let's talk about it. Let's look at it. Let's have a good time here. Let's try to have half as good of a time with this video as the drug-fueled, fucking addled meetings that Wargaming Balance Department has when they introduce these battleships. We just looked at Loria, which had stealth, speed, armor, and overmatch. And now we're looking at Rhode Island, which has the stealth, has the speed, does not have the overmatch or the armor. So, wow, only 2 out of 4 broken gimmicks bundled together. But you know what Rhode Island has? We've got 40-second reloading heals that have improved healing of 60% pens instead of the normal 50% pen healing. We have American DCP that lasts a fucking eternity. And we have some of the most demonic fucking high explosive shells in the game, which combined with our accuracy are just ridiculous. We're hitting a Conqueror salvo right out the gate on this Wisconsin. That fire is going to tick and basically is going to remove almost a quarter of his boat. Might as well shoot the other guy who doesn't have a fire on him. Probably just a fluke, right? That we got a good salvo and a fire. Nope, got another fire on this guy. So you're going to be spamming HE, especially, in a game like this, they have one cruiser. He's not even on my side of the map, right? High explosive. Why are we spamming HE? Is the AP dog shit? Like many YouTubers suggest. Ooh, terrible AP. Terrible AP? No, the AP is actually quite good. It's significantly improved over Puerto Rico. Slightly worse penetration angles, but significantly better penetration overall. But we've shot this Wisconsin on the one line twice, and a half a ship is gone. And we forced the damage control. And we're going to find out, is he an intelligent player who runs cold DCP? Looks like he is. So we're not going to get a fire immediately. Only 5,000 damage. But if he gets spotted again, his damage com will be down. I don't think he's been able to farm his funny button. So we just stay on HE. The HE is so fucking good that it's just like, why shoot the AP, right? We could probably 5 to 10k this guy with AP at this angle, but we're getting 6k in a fire, and this fire is going to tick him for a total of probably around 12 to 15,000 damage total from that salvo. And I'm going to talk about the damage farming potential in Rhode Island, but like if I was going for max damage farm, I would actually stop shooting this guy and I would switch to the Schlieffen or Wisconsin on the other side, right? But I'm just trying to get rid of him. This guy is just suffering. The accuracy of these shells, the penetration is 59 millimeters, so anything with 50 deck you shit on. The fire chance is way too high, 31% base. We land 3 out of 4 with the back turret. And this guy's going to go down. So if I was in this situation, I want you to think for a second. Put yourself in a non-utility HE kiting cruiser. You're in your Hindenburg, maybe a Cerberus, Goliath, Henry, Castilla, right? Would you output as much damage on that guy at that range? Number one, probably not, because you would be more scared of showing as much broadside as I did to get all your guns off constantly. Number two, Wisconsin has more fires per minute than all of those cruisers I just mentioned, except I believe the Cerberus. Number three, a lot of those cruisers I mentioned, like you have more HE pen than them. Obviously not the Goliath, which has the same, and Hindenburg, which has 51, but you have better HE pen. And you're very similar in accuracy. You're just very slightly less accurate than them. But one thing that those cruisers, many of them don't have, Goliath and Hindenburg in particular, they're not fast. So you're not relocating to farm these guys as fast as I am in the Rhode Island. And you can look in the top right. We are 5 minutes into this game, and we have 100,000 damage. That is exclusively HE spam. And like I mentioned, we are not even min-maxing our HE farm. We could have switched targets quite a bit sooner, let their Wisconsin live. I mean, this is the crucial thing that a lot of people leave out when they show you a lot of big damage games with HE spammers, is most players who are getting really big HE spam games are alternating fires as efficiently as they can, which is what you want to maximize damage output. Guess what else Rhode Island has that all these HE spamming cruisers don't get? 11-kilometer ASW planes that are letting me hit this sub when in any of those cruisers I mentioned, except maybe Cerberus, I can't remember. Cerberus might have improved plane range, but yeah, we can ASW this sub. So just throw another check mark in the box for Rhode Island over any of these HE spammers. You're basically as efficient at HE spamming as these boats I mentioned. You're way faster and can relocate more. You have way better armor overall. Better ASW planes. You're faster than basically all of them except like a speed boosting Henry. Because of your speed boost, you go about 40 knots. You're as maneuverable or more than some of them. More. Better rudder ship than Goliath. Same as Hindenburg. Way better than Puerto Rico. Oh, yikes. Yeah, it's pretty tough. Way faster relocating and pushing in. What else do we get that these HE spamming cruisers don't have? Oh, that's right. We get rapid reloading heals. 40 seconds base. What else do we get that these cruisers don't have? Oh, let's see, a 31-second American cold DCP mod. Oh, yeah. You don't get 5-second DCP like a cruiser where you just get instant lit on fire immediately. No, these cruisers that HE spam your Rhode Island, they got to fire 4 or 5 plus salvos to get that second fire after you DCP, because the DCP lasts forever. What else do we get on Rhode Island just because it's a battleship? Oh, that's right, access to improved repair party readiness. Yay, we tank about 2 million potential and our heal is 30 seconds instead of 40. Which is about the same time that our damage con lasts. So you get lit on fire, you out heal the fire. The fire ends because you take maybe 30-second, 40-second fires. Your heal's on reload. Ooh, they get really lucky. Maybe they light a double fire on you. Pop the 31-second American Premium Cold DCP mod. What happens when that runs out and all of their irrelevant HE spam can finally light a fire on you? Oh no, the heal's already fucking back because we have fast reloading heals. I think you're kind of getting the point. Oh, there's radar on this boat too. That's pretty cool, right? Having radar that none of those no utility HE farming cruisers get. They don't get your radar. Yeah, why does this boat have radar? Nobody knows. Fuck it. Just give it the radar. Why not? It's kind of like a Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico gets radar. Give it the radar. 9-kilometer. Good duration. 40 seconds base. Give it improved secondary accuracy. Why? I don't know. Because wouldn't it be funny if when you radar destroyers at 9 kilometers, you had improved secondary accuracy so that even without building for your secondaries at all, you could still kind of do some nice damage to destroyers that are smoked up? Wow, that'd be really cool, wouldn't it? Why? Why Wargaming? Why? I mean, again, I talked about damage farming. I'm not going to get like an insane damage number in this game, but like, you just run at people in this boat. You just run at them in this boat because the security that the cold DCP duration and the fast reloading heals and the radar gives you, like, there are HE kite cruisers that are like a little better at HE kiting than you. Not even that much better, but like Can they push in like this? No, they absolutely fucking cannot push in like this. Do this in your Hindenburg and see what happens. You get farmed by the Schultz for 2 extra minutes because you're slow. Do this in your Goliath. Do this in your Cerberus. Do this in any of these cruisers that don't have radar and have decent HE kite potential. I mean, we're not building for the secondaries at all. At all. No build whatsoever, but we still get a couple of hits. And I mean, we're just on HE whole game. Have I shot AP yet? I don't think that I have. This Wisconsin, fortunately, is on HE, and there we go. Boom, we're popping the buff that Halsey gives us because we don't balance ships in this game around Halsey Confederate. Look at that, we already have another heal ready. This Wisconsin, for some reason, didn't shoot to finish us, but even if he had, we probably still would have tanked. And really the only reason I'm going to even die at all, the only reason I'm even going to die in this game is because this Wisconsin has been spamming HE at me instead of AP. And had he been spamming AP at me the whole time, I would have crossed the 2 million potential damage threshold to get another heal, which would have given me back another 13,000 health, which would have saved my life at the end of this game. He likes to double fire, but we're almost back. We only got 5 seconds to wait for a DCP, and there you see the AP. 14,000 damage at an angle because you have improved penetration. But the AP is fucking good on this boat. It's not even that the AP is bad, it's just that, like, the HE is so crazy, that, like, why not? And he shoots me again. Look at that, damage con is only halfway through, and here we get to see something that you got to see in the Loria video I just made, where you just get to rope-a-dope a battleship because you're so fucking fast. You're so fucking fast, you just outrun the guns. And like I said, you see my potential a little bit north of 1.7. If those last 2 salvos he fired at me were AP, we would be north of 2 million potential, and I would be healing already. And I would kill this Shima and live. We're still going to win, because we actually had a fairly decent team. At least the last guys alive are not stupid, which is really exciting. But yeah, we actually would have lived. That Wisconsin shooting HE at us, we might have actually lived because we would have had another heal. But it's the combination that this boat has. It's really a 3-way combination. We win the game. I mean, not insane damage, but it's highlighting the 3 things that I want to highlight. 1, in the kite, you're every bit as good as these cruisers that are only good at HE Kite Farm. 2, you can run the fuck in on people. You're so fast, you have the radar to tell those destroyers in their smoke to fuck off. You're fairly maneuverable and can dodge torps. Not having the hydro is not that big of a deal in this ship. And 3, you get this bullshit heal cooldown and the battleship skill set. We're going to go back to the port. We're going to look at the armor, the captain build, and talk more about the battleship bullshit skill set. But just keep in mind these things of how you're fulfilling the role in kite of an HE kiter every bit as well as they do. And then you have these other abilities on top of it. Alright, we're back in port. Can look over the armor and the spec. Let's probably start with the spec. Equipment, I mean, I said it in the Lori video. I think I've said it in every video I've done so far. Guys, if the damage con is 15-second base or higher, you take cold DCP, 31-second DCP, 38-second base cooldown on the heal. I mean, you can understand why it's absolutely fucking stupid. Definitely engine boost over surveillance radar mod. I personally think you can get a longer duration radar. You can get the radar like barely long enough to squeak 3 salvos in instead of 2, but the engine boost is so valuable. A ton of your tanking comes from the engine boost. It's kind of the same idea with Ragnar, why you take engine boost on Ragnar instead of surveillance radar mod on Ragnar. Exact same premise. Survivability is speed is survivability on ships like this, Ragnar. Um, this is definitely up in the air here. I think you're trolling to take range. Objectively, I think you're trolling to take range. The shells are slow, and like they're unless someone's just parked nose in, like you're just not really hitting them. Um, so the real choice is here, I think, turret traverse or secondaries. The only reason I take secondaries is because they match your radar range if you take secondaries in slot 3. And so that means that anytime you're radaring a destroyer in his smoke, your secondaries can immediately shoot. And there are a lot of, I mean, that's nice in general. There's a lot of times though a DD smokes up on you, you get in radar range, and you just put the secondaries on him because he's low HP. You just chill. You just chill for 40 seconds while the secondaries rape him, and you maybe fire 1 salvo to finish him. But again, you could definitely take turret traverse because the reload on Rhode Island is so fast, 22 seconds base. Better turret traverse is way better on these fast reloading ships. Um, Slot 4, I don't think there's any reason to take damage control because the cold DCP, the 40-second heals, you don't ever die to fires anyway. Prop mod or steering gears, I think this is a kind of a 50-50 pick. I personally take the steering gears, even though I just said in the Loria video that it doesn't make sense when people take steering gears on a lot of battleships. But you get 9-second rudder, you get thunderer maneuverability. And because the turning circle radius is good, I said that about Loria, which has like over 1100, I think, turning circle. But man, on Rhode Island, you actually turn in this thing. Prop mod um, is better if you have to bow tank on a rock. Obviously, you can speed juke back and forth. But I think steering gears is overall better. Plus, the firing angles on Rhode Island are actually fairly dog shit. And so swiveling in and out, taking that prop mod allows you to swivel to 45 degrees, fire, swivel to angle, swivel to fire, swivel to angle, etc. Concealment and accuracy are just brain dead choices. I mean, there's no reason to change either of those. And you see with that engine boost mod, we have like a 4-minute engine boost. It's insane. The heal is fairly standard, except Rhode Island's heal does heal 60% of penetration damage. You don't get any improved Citadel healing, but you do heal more pen damage, which again goes back to like the tragedy of an HE spamming cruiser fighting this thing, because you don't burn and you actually do have 38 deck plating main. This is just the whole package. Onto the captain build, there's actually quite a bit of room to wiggle on this one. I think you could take Brisk, but I do think you definitely need grease the gears because again, the reload is so good that not being able to turn your guns fast in a ship that reloads 22 seconds base feels way worse. Like 30 seconds of turret traverse on Rhode Island feels worse than 40 seconds on Montana because the percentage of heal or of reload versus turret traverse. So if you wanted to take Brisk, you really wanted it, which I think is an overtaken skill by many people. Rhode Island is a ship that, again, because you spam HE, you spam on cooldown, okay? My philosophy with Brisk is you take it if you're really fast and stay dark a lot. You're really fast in Rhode Island, but you don't stay dark. Like even on Vermont, Brisk makes more sense because you don't need grease the gears. The turrets take 4 years to guns take 4 years to reload, and you stay dark half the game in Vermont. right? So brisk on Vermont is a skill that makes sense. On Rhode Island, I don't think it makes sense. You do go like super, super duper funny speed, like maybe 43, 44 knots, which is hilarious. But if you really wanted it, if you really wanted brisk, I would drop this. I would drop emergency repair, because that would then let you take the AA skill. And the AA skill is like an insanely good skill on battleships, because you get the DCP back faster and you kind of like burst become unkillable. Plus, the idea with Brisk and Rhode Island would be you want to push in early sooner, which means you probably take more heat. So you could definitely swap emergency repair for Brisk and AA defense. Um, Totally valid, I think. I personally wouldn't. I also think that this build works extremely well. This is like objectively the correct build on Wisconsin, which is another premium. So if you have Wisconsin and Rhode Island, you swap the captain. It doesn't make any difference at all because you want turret traverse on Wisconsin. You definitely want this on Wisconsin, but you could absolutely swap emergency repair for AA defense and brisk. Let's take a look at the armor real quick. Like I said, it's pretty shit. Um, but again, like it's kind of shit, but it's also like not as bad as Puerto Rico. And like I said, if Puerto Rico was good, it would be this boat because you get the full 38. You get the full 38 on the side plating. And the Citadel is like almost perfectly waterline even. So when people say Rhode Island bots out and doesn't take Citadels, that's complete bullshit. I guess if people can't aim, you get away with it. But like, if you turn out flat and a Montana or whatever aims waterline, leads you properly, you're gonna blow the fuck up. Um, a Citadel at waterline is not that great because, I mean, at 10 kilometers, shells arc in, anything hitting the waterline is going to Citadel the fuck out of you. It's not much overall plating either, as you can see. I mean, 300 and something, a little bit space, but the spacing does not save you, in my experience. So, yeah, the armor is bad overall. But again, having bad armor on a ship that's fucking hard to hit is not the same thing as having bad armor on something else. Okay? Like, Colbert has maybe the worst armor in the entire game. But if you have hands in Colbert, you don't just blow up when you get shot at, because you can dodge. Obviously, Colbert dodges easier than Rhode Island, but you understand my point of this ship is very difficult to hit when it is pushing you. And again, that's a part of why I run rudder, because when you run at people and you just swivel, you just swivel, you just swivel, and you're so fast you start to drift like a lot of speed boosting destroyers do. And they might know to aim at your nose, but man, it's not that fucking easy when this thing is just spamming QE at you, running at you at 40 knots, and it's just constantly wiggling its nose back and forth and back and forth. And even if you aim properly, you're still probably catching a ton of side plating on this thing. So, yeah, tanky in the traditional sense of I can park at 35 degrees and spam all my guns and not take much damage and out heal everything. No. But tanky in the sense that speed juking and rudder juking properly makes you very hard to hit and makes your effective HP pool and armor better than the game says it is. Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. Absolutely, the armor is not as big of a problem. And again, most people can't aim. So, like, yeah, that 1 in 3 games where the enemy's got a Montana player who's a cracked gunner, yeah, you might get shit on a little bit, but you laugh at cruisers, all cruisers, you laugh at them. Kind of laugh at DDs because, again, man, trying to torp a 40-knot battleship with a good rudder shift doesn't really matter that you don't have hydro. Like, that's the thing is, you know, when I'm comparing this to Puerto Rico and saying it's if Puerto Rico was good, you might say, well, Puerto Rico has hydro and you have to give up hydro. Yeah, and the Puerto Rico has 1 kilometer better radar. Yeah, okay. But you're also a kilometer stealthy than Puerto Rico. So your radar gap is the same. That's number one. Number two, I understand about the hydro, but you're so much faster and more maneuverable than Puerto Rico that, I mean, do you eat torps in Rhode Island? Like, yeah, you can. But, I mean, if you know where the DDs are or have a clue, you're not easy to torpedo. You turn on a dime and you're fast. It's just not that easy to torp you. Your torp protection is like pretty dog shit. I think that's uh, maybe one thing I didn't go over is survivability. 26 torp protection. You know, I mean, if you really wanted to, you could even drop that skill for vigilance. But like 7% torp damage reduction is on a 26 base. I mean, it's going to give you what, like 28, 29 torp protection, so it's worthless for that. You would dodge torps a little faster. I don't think it's necessary, personally. The only torps that really shit on you in this thing are deep waters, which you're not fucking dodging anyway. This game's spaghetti code gives you 3 seconds to react to those anyway. Um, so yeah, I mean, like, but is that a balance feature, is dying to torps? I don't think so. Um, so yeah, that's the build. That's the captain spec. You could change a few things around, but overall, yeah, it's a really good ship. Really, really, really good in division, particularly. I know, you know, you put 2 good players together instead of 1. They're obviously way better, but uh, you know, I have a lot of battleships where my solo and my duo win rate are fairly comparable. But Rhode Island, it's like not even close. Like I have a very good solo win rate. I think mid 60, low to mid 60s, but my duo win rate is like well over 70%. I think, because it's just, it's like you bring the HE farm of some of these other ships I mentioned, like Hindenburg, but you bring the one-shot salvo on cruisers that none of them have. Um, so it's kind of this weird situation of like, if you're divved with a destroyer and a BB pushes him, you farm him into the dirt. If a cruiser pushes him, you have the one shot delete potential. I mean, or the half shot delete. I mean, you're gonna get 30k on broadside cruisers easy. So you just kind of are like really, really good against everything. Again, we see a trend with newer battleships. You're good against everything. The one thing you suffer to is battleship players who have really good aim. Battleship players who have exceptionally good aim will take giant chunks out of your Rhode Island. But again, that's only really at close range and only against really good players. You know, the sad reality is that it's just not usually that big of a deal. You notice it when it happens. You notice when you're pushing in the Rhode Island and someone loads AP and hits your nose for 25k. You're like, oh, this guy actually can fucking aim. I'm probably going to die. But outside of that happening, um, yeah, he's good against everything. A really good ship. Would I buy it for 35,000 doubloons? I mean, especially considering that like I got this ship for way fewer doubloons plus extra shit in the loot crates. That is insane to me. Like, it's absolutely insane. I don't know if Wargaming has ever done this. Have they ever double dipped on doubloons? Putting a boat out for gamble money and then putting it out for real money, and then eventually I think it's supposed to be for steel maybe. I guess we don't know for sure, but like, man, I don't know. I don't know if I would buy it. I mean, if it's your money, you know, if you spend that kind of money on other boats, right? This is how I would put it. If you are the kind of person who has bought the tier 10s for 35,000 or whatever doubloons in early access in the past because you don't mind spending that kind of money on this game, then like, is the Rhode Island worth it if anything else has been worth it? Yeah, of course, because it's like incredibly good. It's incredibly, incredibly good. And um, it fulfills a play style of those like super heavy cruisers, but none of the downsides of a super heavy cruiser. Like, I I need to just stop fucking rambling, but like, you don't take 60-second fires. You don't have 5-second damage con, so just a Des Moines spamming you like, well, I put out the fire and the next salvo 5.5 seconds later lit me on fire. Like, you don't have any of the downsides that cruisers get. You even get better fucking torp protection than most of them. Like, man, it's crazy to me. It's honestly crazy to me. Like, don't compare this to a battleship, okay? It's not. It's a super heavy cruiser. It's a Puerto Rico, a Stalingrad, Siegfried, Alaska, one of those. It's better than all of them, okay? It's better than all of those. Like, imagine if your Stalingrad had overall better armor, a way more well-protected citadel that was immune to cruisers blowing you up, couldn't take 60-second fires, had 8 shells on the front on the same reload. Like, sign you the fuck up? Yeah, sign you the fuck up. That's what the Rhode Island is. Can take fire prevention. I mean, this boat is the super heavy cruiser, or the large cruiser, whatever you want to call it, playstyle, and then everything that you hate about those super heavy cruisers is like magically fixed on the Rhode Island. Because it's a battleship, because the team that designs battleships is just on the crack pipe 24/7. They just don't ever put it down. There was no thought in the design of the Rhode Island of, hey, don't we have a bunch of other ships in the game that do like the exact same thing as the Rhode Island? And aren't we making the Rhode Island better at all of the things that those super heavy or large cruisers can do? But then it has battleship skills and battleship modules that are like way better than anything that cruiser players get. Aren't we making irrelevant to some large degree all of our super heavy cruisers and the playstyle that comes with them? Yeah. I don't know. Really good ship. Probably not worth the doubloons, but if you're the kind of guy that pays that kind of money for ships, definitely like the best ship that you probably have been able to buy outright for doubloons in the past couple years. So in that sense, worth it. Anyway, thank you for watching.